If you're in your 20s and feel lost, confused, like you're running full speed but somehow still stuck in the same place, this video is for you. Because here's the brutal truth no one wants to say out loud. You're not wasting time. You're wasting yourself. And unless you learn how to kill who you were, you'll keep living in emotional reruns of a version that's already expired. In part 1, we talked about Thorfinn, the Viking warrior who stopped chasing revenge, lost everything, and found something deeper. We said, before you can level up, you've got to bury the self that's holding you back. But here's the twist. That weak version of you didn't just become him, you've been protecting him. And if you don't face why you keep choosing comfort over transformation, you're going to waste the entire decade trying to feel better instead of becoming stronger. Today, we light the next match. Welcome to the fire. Let me ask you something risky. What if the version of you that's been trying to grow actually needs to die? Not improve, not glow up, not rebrand. Full-on funeral, Viking style. Because let's be real, you've been trying to change, but secretly hoping the old you could come along for the ride. That's not growth, that's spiritual hoarding. Like trying to renovate a house while refusing to throw out the ghosts. And you wonder why you feel heavy. Today's mission? We're diving into what I call the Phoenix Principle. The fire that burns away the weak you, so the real one can rise. Let's go. You ever get hit with that 3 a.m. wave of existential dread? That little voice going, bro, nothing's actually changed. Yeah, you got a new job, new gym routine, maybe even a new skincare obsession, but underneath, same self-doubt, same guilt, same urge to check your phone every 30 seconds. And if you're honest, deep down, you know something's gotta go. Not a new habit, not a new productivity hack, but a full-on death of the version of you that's been holding you hostage. But death is scary, even ego death. So instead, we keep feeding the zombie. You know, the people-pleasing, phone-addicted, I'll start tomorrow version of us. That's who's running the show. And he's not driving to greatness. He's driving in circles. Here's a truth bomb. You're not stuck. You're comfortable. And that's way more dangerous. Dr. Berkman, a cognitive neuroscientist, calls it the comfort principle. Your brain would rather stay in predictable misery than risk unknown success. It's literally designed to avoid discomfort. So every time you try to level up, your brain yells, whoa, 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 let's not do anything heroic today. Let's doom scroll and overthink instead. And guess what? It wins because the old you is still alive, still whispering. You can't rise until you burn that version down. That's the Phoenix Principle. Rebirth doesn't come after growth. Rebirth requires destruction. Marcus Aurelius said, look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. But first, you gotta clear the wreckage. Cue Thorfinn on Kettle's farm. Season 2, post-Ashalab, pre-redemption. This man is technically alive, but spiritually dead. He's chopping wood like it's penance. He's got nightmares that'll make your finals anxiety look like a spa day. And when Einar asks him why he doesn't fight back, he says he's killed too many people and doesn't even want to live anymore. That's not just trauma. That's the phoenix in ashes. The old warrior Thorfinn, dead. But the new one, not born yet. He had to lose everything. Rage, revenge, his sword, to build something real. Not with blood, but with peace, with purpose. He stopped performing pain and started transforming it. Now, let's talk about you. You keep saying, this is the year I change. But you're still dodging pain like it's lava. Still ghosting your goals every time they stop being fun. Still hoping your life will transform without doing anything drastic. You don't need another goal. You need a gravesite, one where you can bury the version of you that procrastinates everything meaningful, the version that waits for permission, the version that's more afraid of rejection than regret. Because guess what? You can't meditate your way into a new self. Sometimes you gotta kill the old one first. This is the turning point that most people avoid. The ego death. The moment where you stop tweaking and start transforming. Where you stop asking, how do I feel today? And start saying, what needs to die in me so I can live? This is why most people plateau. They're still protecting a version of themselves they outgrew years ago. They're still scared that if they let go of that old identity, they'll disappear. But here's the twist. That version of you was never real to begin with. It was a survival mask, and it's time to rip it off. Here's the part that stings. You might be addicted to being the victim. Not because you're weak, but because it's safe. When you're the victim, you don't have to change. You just have to cope. You get to say, I can't help it. It's just how I am. I had a rough childhood. I didn't get the right opportunities. And guess what? People comfort victims, but they fear warriors. Victims get sympathy. Warriors get responsibility. So your brain, trying to protect you, keeps playing the same script. Let's just stay small, stay hidden, stay broken, because at least then, no one expects anything from you. That's not a failure. That's a psychological trap called learned helplessness. Psychologist Martin Seligman discovered this in the 1960s. He shocked dogs. Yeah, ethics weren't great back then. And when they couldn't escape, they stopped trying. Even when the shock stopped, they just lie there, accept the pain. That's you in your 20s if you don't break the loop. Thorfinn lived this. After Ashlad died, he collapsed. He didn't fight, didn't resist, because deep down, he believed he deserved to suffer. But it wasn't guilt. It was fear of trying again, of hoping, of failing twice. And maybe you're there too. But here's the truth. You're not broken. You just stopped trying. Epictetus said, it's not things that upset us, but our opinions about things. Translation, your life didn't ruin you. Your story about your life did, and stories can be rewritten. Let's shift to Thorfinn's dream sequence, the one where the bodies he's killed crawl toward him in silence, eyes hollow, faces blank. He stands in the middle of it all, frozen, not fighting, not running, just watching, because part of him believes he deserves it, that this endless loop of guilt and stillness is his final form. But it's not guilt, it's resignation, learned helplessness in a Viking skin. And he doesn't start healing until he stops flinching from the ghosts and starts asking, why am I still letting them control me? Ever been in that spot when you stop applying to jobs, stop texting people back, stop setting alarms? Not because you're lazy, but because it feels pointless. That's not burnout. That's emotional resignation. And it's the most dangerous mindset on earth. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's quiet. You don't even notice it's happening until a whole year slips by. Victimhood is a warm blanket laced with chains. It keeps you comfortable while stealing your future. And you'll keep wearing it until you decide, I'd rather be free than safe. I'd rather take the blame than sit in the dark. You're not powerless. You're just still pretending you are. Here's your call to arms. Next time you hear yourself say, I can't do it because, stop and say, it's my fault. And that's a good thing. Because if it's your fault, it's your fix. And that means your future is still yours. Pain gets a bad rap. Like, it's this villain we're supposed to boo off stage. Like, if you're hurting, you must have done something wrong. But what if the opposite is true? What if the pain you're feeling is proof that you're finally facing your life? Every transformation requires a funeral. In Stoic thought, pain isn't punishment, it's purification. Seneca once wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. And modern psychology backs it up. A study in psychological science found that people who endured moderate adversity actually had greater life satisfaction and emotional resilience than those who faced none. Translation, the pain isn't breaking you, it's building you. Let's go back to Thorfinn again, because this dude lives in pain. His nightmares, literal flashbacks of the people he's killed. His guilt? So strong, he doesn't even want to exist anymore. But instead of numbing it, he leans in. He lets himself feel it. Not just once, every day. When he kneels in the fields, eyes burning with tears, he's not broken, he's forging. That's the Viking Phoenix. Not flashy, not pretty, but real. Because the path out of pain is straight through it. You've probably had your moment. A breakup that shattered your confidence. A failed dream that left you bitter. A silent car ride home where you questioned everything. It sucked. Of course it did. But if you're really honest, wasn't that the moment you started to wake up? Stop running from the pain that's trying to reshape you. Pain isn't the stop sign. It's the furnace. The flames don't mean you're dying. They mean you're becoming. Here's your challenge. Sit in it. 1 hour. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just you and your pain and a journal. Ask, what am I still grieving? What version of me is trying to die? What part of me is begging to rise? Don't try to fix it. Just feel it. Write it. Face it. Because fire doesn't ask for permission. It just burns. And when it's done, only the strongest parts of you will remain. The weak version of you, he's already fading. But the warrior, he's waiting in the ashes. Here's your final action step. And yeah, it might get weird. Write your weak self's obituary. For real. Just you, a journal, a candle. Start with, here lies the version of me who, and go all in, who always said later and meant never, who waited for motivation like it was a delivery order, who was more scared of rejection than regret. Then bury it, burn it, delete it, whatever ritual you need, because you can't start your next chapter while still sending love letters to the last one. So, if you're in your 20s and you feel like you're wasting time, you probably are. Not because you're lazy, but because you're still protecting the version of you that's terrified to grow. Kill who you were. Sit in the pain, burn the mask, then walk out of the ashes like you mean it.